All right. Jerry Hoak, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. This is our agency break-in series where we're at the Martin Agency, and this place is pretty freaking cool. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for coming down to Richmond.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about you. Really, what I want to do is I've known about Martin Agency for a long time when I was in school, studying some of the great agencies out there. Now we're in here. I want to uncover while I'm here what it's like behind the scenes working at the Martin Agency, and starting off with you as the CCO, Chief Creative Officer. I can't think of a better way to do this and tackle this. So I'm pumped to talk with you. We want to know what it's like to work here, and then your advice for the aspiring advertisers or for people that are in this industry, and potentially marketers that we're seeing listen in too. On how they can better work with their agencies, even if you're not working with them too. So that's my goal. Do you vibe with that? Do we need to shift gears?
No, we're good. Let's do it.
Heck yeah, Jerry. Cool.
Awesome.
So I guess, when did you start working at Martin, or when did you start as the CCO position would be my first question.
Sure. I've been CCO for about a year.
Nice.
I came to Martin 8 years ago as a GCD.
Oh, so you've been here. You've been here for a little bit.
Clip. It's gone like super fast. I couldn't believe it. I've doubled the amount of time I've been at any agency.
Yeah.
But it hasn't felt like it. It feels like a blink.
Got it. And so that says a lot right there.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It says I'm getting old.
8 years in agency life. That's, it's like dog years. It's like times 7.
It is. Yeah, I guess so. And not so much at Martin though. I've felt that dog years thing. Maybe over my career, but not so here. It's almost like time has stopped.
Got it.
In a weird way here.
Got it. And is that being in Richmond? Is that where you currently live? Are you in New York?
I'm currently in Richmond. I've been in Richmond since I came to Martin.
Got it.
We have a New York space as well. Right. Brought 40 people there, but now I'm here, and I think Richmond is a big part of it, right? I think you always hear about the Martin culture, and the Martin culture is a real thing. And
what is that? What is that Martin culture?
It's fun to work here.
I believe it. I'm believing. I'm looking around here.
Yeah, and I think it's fun because the stress level is at a relative minimum.
Yeah,
right. I think it's the city. You felt it when you got off the plane.
It was incredible.
There's just like a vibe about this town that infuses work as well. And it's not that we don't work hard. Of course, as advertising, we work hard, but it's not the same kind of stressful intensity that I've experienced other places. And honestly, I think that the less stressed you are, the better creative person you can be.
That makes sense. Yeah. And it would be nice to walk around these streets. The cobblestone's really nice to get those creative juices flowing. So I definitely believe that. So where are we at today? So you're a year into the CCO position.
I am.
And how has that been? Can we talk about some of the clients, some of the stuff that you've achieved in this past year, and maybe also hinting at after that, where do you want to take it next?
Yeah, we can. It's going great. It's been about a year. I think the end of last year, before I was promoted, we were on fire. At the end of last year, we won a bunch of new business. And,
nice.
Papa John's, Sanofi, which is now Opella. It's all the brands you have in your medicine cabinet, right? Icy Hot, Gold Bond, Unisom, all of them.
Need that.
And then obviously still doing great work for the accounts that we've had forever. And so I was hard at work, as an ECD, really leading those pieces of business. So, over the last year that I've been CCO, it's been making sure I can nurture those clients, but at the same time, take on, the bigger responsibility of running the entire creative department.
Yeah. Can we talk about how many creatives are in the Martin Agency right now in the Richmond office?
I don't have an exact number for you. Do you have an exact number?
No.
We've got about 100 creatives or so. It's about a fourth of the company.
That's a lot of human beings.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
And COVID has changed it. We have a lot of people still in Richmond. Richmond is always the heart and soul of this company, but we have creatives in New York and Chicago and Austin and LA, like in Brazil. We're all over the map, as most agencies are. So making sure that when you're an agency that's driven by culture, like making sure that the people who aren't in Richmond feel the culture as well.
Yeah.
And, it's very easy just to close your laptop and open another one, and you're all of a sudden you're in a different company.
Yeah.
So how do we keep people at Martin? And our attrition rate, whether you're in Richmond or you're out of Richmond, it's so much lower, than most agencies. So.
That's a good point. Yeah. We see people, especially in the young advertising community, struggling or moving around quite a bit to find that spot for them. So it seems like Richmond does a really good job, and the Martin agency here, you keep your people. And can you talk a little bit about how you approach talent development and like nurturing your creatives and like your teams? Because I was told, I have a really good friend, researcher friend of mine, said that he knows, like from hearing you and his circles, said you're a really great creative leader that does look after all levels of your
awesome.
folks.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you can a good
I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems.
I hope it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up playing sports. I just approach this as a team sport, right?
Gotcha.
And it might sound cliche.
What were you playing?
I played baseball. I played basketball.
Nice.
But the team chemistry, like you can have all the talent in the world on a team, but if there's no chemistry, if everybody isn't supported in the way they need to be supported, you're not going to win. And I feel like that's how we approach everything at Martin, and especially, we'll talk more about new business later, but especially in new business, where that's really where things get draining inside a company.
Yeah, because it's on top of their current client work.
It is, and you'll hear stories about places you're working nights and weekends constantly, and not never shutting that down. And I think we really built a culture here that doesn't require that. Like we work differently.
But if I'm here, I'm going to want to do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to want to put in that extra work to level up at the Martin agency, to stay here, and for my career.
Yes.
So if there is that hunger and drive, do you still support that?
100%.
Yeah. Let's not get that
drive. Let's not be confused. But this isn't about not working hard and long and late, but it is doing so with a shared vision and a shared goal. And like, you've everybody that's worked in this business has been on the pitches where leadership can't make a decision. And like, there's just a lot of churn and just work that just is going into a wood chipper that never sees the light of day, whether that's in a pitch or work that gets produced. And I think we're really good here about making decisions early, in a pitch, and getting everybody moving towards the same goal. No matter whose idea was it at the core, everybody like jumps in and gets it done, and we work together versus one team is responsible for the entire thing.
I like that. Yeah. So that team leadership, like kind of coaching mentality, has been really great. What sports teams you a fan of?
I'm from Pittsburgh originally, so
okay.
I'm black and gold all the way, and then VCU brand center. I'm obviously VCU's black and gold as well, so I've got very consistent color palette.
Where'd you go undergrad?
Penn State.
Yeah,
that's a deviation.
Yeah, no, great school too. Yeah. So what'd you study at Penn State then?
I studied advertising.
Okay.
Accidentally though. I was like a PR major, and and it was like a hyphenated major.
You didn't want to go into comms, and
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. And Sophie, our PR people know me now. Like the fact that I could ever be in PR is ludicrous.
But it's not a bad back muscle to have, because you understand what's newsworthy. So when you're coming up with those creative campaigns, like, will this earn some buzz?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think when I was in PR, it was more about crisis management than what it's evolved into. But it was a hyphenated major, so I took an intro to advertising class and had this big thick textbook about what advertising is, which is just hilarious in itself. But, one paragraph that explained what an art director was, and I was like, oh shit, like
that was the nugget.
What I got to do.
Yeah.
And then joined the ad club, and eventually found the little pamphlet from the 60 magazine from VCU, and I was like, I don't exactly know what this is, but I want to go do that.
So when did you find out about art direction? What point of your academic career? Do you remember?
I guess I would have been a junior.
Okay.
It took that long, 2 years of electives, and then finally the actual major stuff.
That's not too far off, when people start to kind of like still finalize today.
Yeah.
And like, that's why I like the Breaking Entering podcast, because if people know they like advertising, then they can listen into the different roles and different people, backgrounds. Hopefully it's like sooner to identify what position they want to get into, because once you know early, then you can kind of work backwards.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you were in a position your junior year, you found out what art direction was? Did you feel like you didn't have enough time, like, to try to break in right after? Was the competition like, run us through your mindset of why you chose VCU?
Yeah. I mean, when I was at Penn State, I saw that, that paragraph about art direction. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
That clicked.
It clicked with all my skill sets, and I always loved art. I never wanted to be an artist, but the connection of business and art was like
easy.
Can't believe this exists.
Yeah.
Then I think it was just a matter of time, right? You take at Penn State, they had an advertising program, but I think it was 1 or 2 creative classes, and you might have taken a media class, but it wasn't like a full robust program.
Yeah.
And I started putting a portfolio together, but it was nowhere near. You see the portfolios coming out, portfolio school. It was nowhere near that. Yeah. And I didn't want to just work at a local agency or some small thing. Like once I knew this is what I wanted to do, like I immediately set my sights on how high I could go. And when I found out there was grad programs for that, I figured out how to get that done.
And I believe you get a master's degree.
You do.
That helps. And I like that.
It helps with your parents more than anything else.
Exactly.
Not that my folks paid for school, they didn't, but it helped them get their heads around. Well, you're picking advertising. They don't know anything about that. It's not really the
tell them I want to get my master's.
Yeah, it's not the most prestigious industry in the world, So the fact that the Martin Agency, worked with VCU to create the brand center, the first accredited master's program in the country, like it was a no-brainer. I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do that, and I did it.
So you enrolled right after you graduated from Penn State. Did that for, I believe it's a 2-year program. So did that for 2 years. I'm sure you might have gotten an internship in that or develop your skill set. Probably a walk in the park, right? You got in there, you're like, okay, this is just like undergrad. You just do your classes, you'll graduate, you'll get a job. Was that kind of that process for you when you enrolled?
No, it wasn't.
No, it's hard. You got to put in the freaking work.
At Penn State, I was probably one of 3 people who was interested in it. In advertising. I was by default successful. When I got to Brand Center, people were, throwing down some cash and some time to like make this their thing. And it was crazy competitive, and I had just taught myself Photoshop and a couple of things, whereas you have people who had been working for a few years or, might have been in a design agency and now, they're taking this on. So I felt like I really had a lot of work to do just to catch up.
Yeah.
And, even by the time school was over, I was like at the best in the middle of the pack.
Oh, really?
At best. Yeah, at best.
So how'd you stand out and get that first job?
I, luckily, Rick Boyko, who was running the program at the time, was, you kind of got Harry Potter sorting hats at the beginning of the time. So some students went with Rick, others went with Cabell Harris, others went with, Cos Costius. And I happened to be mostly under Rick's wing. And I think he saw a little bit of himself in me, strategic background, mind, and hard work ethic. And he really helped me. I desperately wanted to go to the West Coast when I came out, and it wasn't happening. No one was interested, and
what were the shops in the West Coast at that time? What were the hot shops?
Ground Zero was like the place. Sean Vige was running, it was over there, and they were doing amazing work for 2K and ESPN and some other stuff. I think ESPN, I forget. But then, of course, Goodby was like number 1 shop at the time for everybody.
Sure.
Why didn't Goodby? It was where everybody wanted to go.
Yeah.
But I think I just really wanted to be in the West Coast. Growing up as a kid, I just always wanted to, move out there from the East Coast, and it wasn't happening. And luckily, Ogilvy, had some space, or Rick made some space for me at Ogilvy, and
stay close. Yeah.
He called up his good friend Jan Leth, and me and my partner, who also came from Brand Center. We were like the first digital hybrid team where we're half a foot in Ogilvy, the other half in Ogilvy. And we're kind of bridged the digital and traditional like world, where at the time it was all separate. Like if you were digital, you were digital, or if you were general, you were general.
Did you feel a little bit off about doing that, or were you,
well, I saw the opportunity in it. When we originally were interviewing, it was really only for the digital side, and that I was hesitant about.
Right.
I didn't want to just be labeled as the digital only creative.
Right.
So we convinced them to let us be the hybrid team, and that was a great decision. I had my foot in the door both, and it was great.
Ogilvy in New York.
Ogilvy, New York.
Yeah, working on IBM, I believe.
Yeah, I started off on Yahoo.
Okay.
Might not even know
yeah.
anymore.
Great news source.
Great news source. Good fantasy football app. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Great mnemonic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started off on Yahoo, and then worked hard on that. And once you kind of cut your teeth on a brand. If they think you're good, they're moving you into one of the powerhouse brands. And I got into the IBM orbit.
Gotcha.
And I was on IBM for about 3.5, 4 years.
Nice.
Exclusively.
Anything else like monumental happen at Ogilvy? That's, you broke in, you're establishing your career, life is good. It can't get any better than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, except I met my wife in a color grade.
There it is.
Yeah, I was a junior art director, and my wife now, Katie, was in this program to be an intern in the account program. And
nice.
Some other dude dropped out at the last minute, and they called her and was like, "Hey, the internship opened. You want it?" And she came up within a day notice, and things are history. And she
incredible
to have an amazing career, and now we have a little one.
Somebody once told me it's like, ask what advertising can do for you. Like, you can travel, you can like get so many amazing experiences, you can develop your own skill set, it can take you to a lot of different places. I like this scenario where you can meet your wife maybe. So
yes,
not a bad situation. So from Ogilvy, a couple other agencies from there.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about your time at Droga real quick and how that, what did that mean in your career? What were some of those lessons working there?
I mean, I became a creative at Droga. I feel like,
but you weren't one at Ogilvy?
I was sorry.
Yeah, no.
I grew into
that. Was like
I learned how to be a creative there,
right? That was like that big moment.
Yeah, and not anything against. I learned so much at Ogilvy and Taxi in the middle.
Yeah,
which I went from a giant agency and Ogilvy to a
like
very small thing at Taxi.
Yeah,
so I got to learn how to do everything at that point. But to really like get in there and create ideas that were going to impact culture and win awards and do all those things and surprise yourself. I learned that all at Droga, and I had no business getting hired there. I really had no business.
How'd you get in then?
Prudential.
Gotcha.
Prudential was the first like kind of adult client that Droga had.
Yeah.
No one wanted to work on it.
Hey,
no one wanted to work on it. And the Prudential clients, when they reference other work that they admired, IBM was one of the clients, if not the client that they would reference.
Right.
And the head account guy, Brian Yasko, was also from Ogilvy. And so when my book came through, it was like, let's give this guy a shot.
Nice. And you were willing to do work on the client that seemingly other people didn't want to work on.
Yeah. I would have done anything to work there.
I love that.
Dream, yeah.
And that mentality, I think we have to note that clip that you would do anything to work there. It's so important, like having that drive, be willing to work hard, even on the potential clients that people don't like.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get bad briefs when we first start off in this industry and you want to write it off. You think you can just sell something real quick. So talk about some of the importance there when you get handed some work.
Yeah.
It might not seem like the biggest opportunity. How should you approach it?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing about Droga is like every brief is an opportunity to do a titanium lion.
Yeah.
And I think I'll never forget, we were struggling. I think we were about 5 or 6 months in, and we were struggling. And one of the ECDs came over to us and it was like, hey, how long have you been here? I don't know, like 5 or 6 months. They're like, okay, good. Your learning curve's over. And
Showtime.
Walked away. It's like, oh shit, we have one more meeting. We have one more review internally to like have a good idea. We're out.
Holy cow.
And I'll never forget, just like, we had a billboard assignment. And I was up until like 5 a.m, just generating as many ideas as I could for this one billboard for Prudential. And we had a great review the next day.
Nice.
Like, oh my God, we made it through the week. And
it was kind of nice for him to give you.
We just had to have a one successful meeting.
Yeah.
And then we took off. It was amazing.
It was kind of nice that ECD gave you that little nudge. Gave you that little spark there. Yes. Maybe scary at the time, but I'm sure
it was scary at the time. Like another team had just unfortunately been let go, and it was this different kind of motivation. It was a 2011 or so type of motivation that we don't really use anymore.
No,
for the better.
Yeah.
However, I needed it. I needed that kick, and and it just all kind of went up from there.
Gotcha.
We came in at Droga as an art director and left as a GCD in 4 years. So it was a wild ride. And, for me, it was working just as hard as I could work. And I'll never forget David Droga came in. I think it was like 8 o'clock in the morning and I was still cranking And he just
from the night before.
Yeah, and he just like came over and he was like, "Hey, you can leave every once in a while." And just that acknowledgement that he saw me, was awesome. And from that moment on, honestly, he took us under his wing, and it was an incredible ride for 4 years. Yeah,
that's incredible. See, I wouldn't be seeking that validation. Very few people I feel like I would want to work that hard for.
Yeah,
and it's David Droga. Like he's up there as one of the best. So
I know I still get nervous when I see him.
Yeah,
I want to make him proud.
Of course,
I'm hoping he likes the work.
Of course. So where does that leave us then? So is that when you hop over to the Martin Agency?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, like as amazing as a ride at Droga was, like I burn out, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to ask. It can't be sustainable to be working like that hard for 4 years plus.
Yeah,
consistent. You're going to make probably some sacrifices in your personal life.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the ride was great, but at the same time, I was tired, and there's so much self-induced pressure.
Oh yeah,
at a place like Droga. Like I never actually even felt the pressure from external forces. It was all self-induced, and I think you mix that with the stress of the city, and my wife and I like wanting to buy something, and it was just like out of reach. And I had a moment. I can't talk about the moment on this podcast, but I had a moment, and I just realized it was time. I had to go.
Sure.
So I kind of walk in and gave David my notice, and I had no plan. I was going to start a dog rescue or something. I didn't know what I was going to do. And
that's purposeful right there.
And then 4 hours later, I got a call out of the blue that Martin had a GCD opening and asked if I'd ever be interested in coming back to Richmond.
Nice.
And I told him, no, I'm very happy at Droga 5. You can't lose leverage. Young people, like, always make sure you have leverage.
I like that.
Lies are okay.
Okay.
But no.
Smart.
No, I didn't hold that lie up long, because the leadership at Droga called Martin and was like, "You should really hire this guy." And they're like, "Wait a minute, why are they recommending you?" And like, I had to come clean.
Yeah.
But
that's a good try though.
Yeah. So my wife, she'd been working at White and Kennedy in the dream job at the time, we both decided, okay, let's take a chance on Richmond, and came down here and haven't looked back. It's been incredible.
So she was at White and Kennedy, New York.
Yeah. Working on ESPN and Southern Comfort. And then Bud Light. Like, what a dream.
Well, you got to get her on the show. I don't know.
You should. She could talk to you about life, transitioning out of advertising, maybe breaking out.
The only breaking out I know is pimples and stuff.
Okay, maybe not the best name. I thought I was onto something, and then you squashed it.
Yeah, I know.
Good. It's fun.
I had a joke. I got to get one in.
Get it out.
And then now, where's she working?
She was at Arts and Letters, that you guys probably know.
Yeah,
she and Charles Hodges worked together on ESPN. And so when we moved to Richmond, he's like, we didn't know he was starting Arts and Letters, but he heard we were coming and got coffee with Katie and convinced her to help him open the show.
So you really got the whole Richmond market.
Yeah, we have
corner. Yeah.
Don't fuck with us down here. We got it. The hosts have got this on lock.
Love it.
No. Love it. So she was the third employee over there.
Oh, incredible.
Once we had our daughter, who is pretty much a miracle kid. You don't have time on this podcast to get into that, but she's a very special IVF kid who we had down here. And once we had her, my wife decided, she's going to be a full-time. Her job is going to be looking after this kid.
What do you do? I was told this is the question that I was told to ask you. What do you do with your daughter on the weekends, and how do you kind of like relax, get your mind off of work?
Yeah. I mean, being that she's the one kid I have, I put as much into her as I do into this job. And so we're just always out doing stuff. She loves to be outside, and there's amazing parks and stuff around here. And then she's learning art history now. She was talking about Mondrian the other day. I'm like, "You're 6. What are you talking about Mondrian?" So we're going to museums, and the museums are great. The VMFA is this incredible fine arts museum that we have here. So
nice.
Trying to expose her to stuff.
Love it.
She asked me what the F word was the other day, and I had to get into that. And so that occupies my weekends.
Hey, this is good stuff here. Yeah. And she'll probably be an art director.
She might be.
If we're talking art history at 6.
It's so funny. I don't even think she realized that she was using a metaphor, but their first week of school, she just started kindergarten. So after her first week, they asked her what's one thing they don't like about school. And her answer was coloring within the lines. I'm like,
uh-oh.
I don't even think you realize that this is a metaphor for creativity.
Oh, we've got an art director, everybody.
I was the opposite.
It's genetics.
I was like the trace the line with the crayon to get the hard, crusty line. So you
kind of design then. We got a designer, it seems like.
Maybe a designer. Yeah, maybe I'm a designer and she's an art director. But anyway, so yeah, maybe.
Love it. Love it. So I think we got, how we doing on time, everybody? A live audience here. Any questions? Good on 26 minutes. How much time do we have left? Perfect. So then I think I just kind of want to wrap this up and then, remind us, how would you characterize Martin today and what's your vision for the Martin Agency's future while you're leading this ship as a CCO?
Yeah. I mean, I think Martin is the most fun, creative company to work for. That's how I characterize it. Like, I don't even think we're the point of the work we're making. I don't even call us an ad agency right now. I think we're making all kinds of creative product and I want to see that continue and the work to elevate. I still think we have a little room to go on, getting the respect of having that designation, but I think we're on our way.
You're worried about the respect as of what externally? Because I feel like everybody's on board that you guys are crushing it and have been for the past long.
Yeah, I guess
I'm just telling you from a neutral third party standard. From you guys are, a lot of people, respect what you guys do, and
I appreciate that.
Top of mind.
Always, I think one of the things that makes us good down here is that we have chips on our shoulders, and the agency was founded that way. And I think that there's always probably some. If you think you're at the top, you're gonna get knocked off. Yeah. So I mean, I think we're always just striving to be better and get better. And there's great agencies out there doing amazing work.
Always, and they're popping up left and right. It seems like new agencies. So staying hungry. Any other practices that you want to expand on? I think design was something that was mentioned to me.
Yeah, I mean, we've really invested in design at Martin, and I think we've done it in a way where I've seen not necessarily work at other agencies. We really broke it out of its silo, and 3 amazing design directors that
3. That's a lot.
We've partnered them with ECDs, and so instead of having a design department that gets fed the work late and then they have
just clean it up later.
Yeah, they're part of the creative process from the very beginning, and more often than not, our solutions are design-led solutions, and
now we're
that
talking.
Only happens when you get them in there, and then the 3 of them are like an amazing 3-legged stool. There's no ego, and they each complement each other's skills, and so it's been an incredible thing to invest in the agency, and I think it's changed the work in a pretty dramatic way.
I like that, and I haven't heard that before, so that's definitely something very unique, having design intertwined with the process in the beginning, during, just like a good strategist.
Exactly.
We have always had that mindset of, start with strategy, make sure they're staying involved, checking back in with them. Now you're kind of doing this with design, it sounds like. So that's new to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably, I don't know if it's been done, but I like that.
So many agencies have design departments and you're
separate. Siloed, it seems like.
I can't say that this is the first time it's been done.
I'm telling you, it's the first time
in my career. So
first time I've heard it in 330 episodes. So
great. All right. Well, maybe we're onto something.
I think you are.
Source about it. You all should try it too. It works.
It's proprietary. Nobody can use that.
Scratch that. Edit that from the podcast.
I think we're good, Jerry. Anything else we missed? I just appreciate you guys having us here. Excited to learn more and sharing your story, your advice. I think we got a lot of great stuff.
Awesome. I'm sure I missed a lot, but you're talking to a bunch more people. So I'm sure what I missed.
Who else do we have on? Any fun questions that we should ask Jerry to ask other people?
Oh, Britta? Awesome. Britta will really get into our culture, ask her questions about really what make this place tick. And we have 4 values, candor, curiosity, fire, and heart. And she's the heart.
Which one are you?
In a big way. I'm fire for sure.
That's what I like
and
to
candor,
hear.
Probably fire and candor are my two big ones. But I think all of us share, we have different balances of those things. But she's heart and she's great.
There we go.
I've also been, global lead on Mondelez and Oreo for I think the whole time we've had them, which is over a decade. So
now we're talking. Well, Jerry, thank you again.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.